Have you ever felt so sure about something only to have the ground crumble beneath your feet? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and believed you saw your forever, only to realize it was all a lie? This is the story of Sarah, a young woman whose fairy tale wedding turned into a nightmare in less than 24 hours. She said "I do" to a man everyone adored, a man of God. But what she found behind closed doors would force her to make the bravest, most heart-wrenching decision of her life. It wasn't another woman, it wasn't a secret debt. It was something so disturbing, so unimaginable, it made her question everything she thought she knew about the man she had just promised her life to. Sarah's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest red flags are not the ones you can easily see. They are hidden in the shadows, waiting to reveal themselves when you least expect it. She was just a girl in love, planning a future with a man who preached about truth and integrity every Sunday. Her heart was full of hope. Her dreams were simple: a home, a family, a life built on faith and mutual respect. She believed she had found that with David, the charismatic young preacher who had captured the hearts of their entire town. But the truth, as it so often does, came out in the most shocking way possible, forcing her to choose between appearances and her own soul. This isn't just a story about a broken marriage. It's a story about courage. The courage to listen to your gut when it's screaming at you, even when the world is telling you to be quiet. It's about understanding that your own well-being, your own peace of mind, is more valuable than any wedding ring or public image. Sarah had to face the judgment of her family, her friends, and an entire community that had placed her new husband on a pedestal. She had to walk away from a life that had only just begun, a life everyone told her she was lucky to have. Her journey shows us that true strength isn't about holding on, it's about knowing when to let go, no matter how difficult it is. Imagine the confusion, the shock, the sheer horror of it all. One moment you are dancing in the arms of your new husband, surrounded by everyone you love. The next, you are staring at a reality so vile it makes you sick to your stomach. Sarah's world was turned upside down in a single night. The man she thought was her protector, her partner, her spiritual guide, was harboring a secret that was not just about deception, but about a deep, unsettling darkness. Her decision to leave was not impulsive. It was a primal act of self-preservation, a testament to the strength that lies within all of us when we are pushed to our absolute limits. David was everything a small-town girl like Sarah could dream of. He was handsome, charming, and deeply devoted to his faith. As the new preacher at the local church, he had a way with words that could move mountains. People listened when he spoke. They trusted him. Sarah met him at a church picnic, and she was instantly drawn to his warm smile and the kindness in his eyes. Their romance was a whirlwind. He courted her with poetry, long walks in the park, and heartfelt prayers for their future together. He told her she was the answer to his prayers, the woman God had chosen for him. Sarah, who had always longed for a love that was pure and true, felt like she was living in a dream. Their engagement was celebrated by the entire town. Everyone agreed they were the perfect couple. Sarah's mother cried tears of joy, believing her daughter had found a truly good man. The wedding planning was a blur of excitement and happiness. Sarah spent months picking out the perfect white dress, the most beautiful flowers, and the cake that would mark the beginning of their new life. She envisioned a future filled with love, laughter, and children running around a home filled with faith. On her wedding day, as she walked down the aisle toward David, her heart swelled with a happiness so profound she thought it might burst. He looked at her with such adoration, and when he said his vows, his voice was steady and strong. The wedding reception was a picture of perfection. Fairy lights twinkled in the trees, music filled the air, and their families and friends toasted to their long and happy future. Sarah and David shared their first dance, lost in each other's arms. She rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart, and felt an overwhelming sense of peace. This was it. This was the start of her forever. She felt so safe, so cherished, so completely and utterly loved. She ignored the tiny, fleeting thought that David seemed a bit too concerned with keeping up appearances, a bit too focused on how things looked to everyone else. She dismissed it as wedding day jitters, a man wanting everything to be perfect for his bride. As the night came to an end, David lifted his new bride into his arms and carried her across the threshold of their new home. The house was a gift from the church congregation, a symbol of their support for their beloved preacher and his wife. Sarah looked around at the boxes waiting to be unpacked, her heart filled with excitement for the life they would build together within those walls. They were both tired but giddy with joy. He kissed her forehead and whispered, "Welcome home, Mrs. Miller." In that moment, surrounded by wedding gifts and the scent of her bouquet, Sarah couldn't have imagined that her perfect day was about to shatter into a million pieces, leaving her with a memory that would haunt her forever. Later that night, as they were getting ready for bed, David mentioned he needed to shower first. He was unusually insistent, saying he felt unclean after the long day. Sarah, still floating on a cloud of marital bliss, simply smiled and started unpacking a small bag of toiletries in their new bathroom. She was humming the tune of their first dance song, her mind replaying the beautiful moments of the day. She opened a drawer to put her toothbrush away and noticed a strange, foul odour. It was faint at first, like something had gone bad, but it was sharp and unpleasant. She wrinkled her nose, assuming it was probably just old plumbing in the house. She decided to find the source of the smell, thinking she could air out the room. As she opened the cabinet under the sink, the stench hit her with full force. It was a putrid, gag-inducing smell of decay that made her stomach turn. Her eyes watered as she looked inside, expecting to find a dead mouse or some forgotten rotting food. But what she saw was far, far worse. Tucked away in the back of the cabinet was a small, unsealed plastic container, and inside it, crawling and writhing in a sickening mass, were hundreds of live maggots. She gasped, stumbling backward, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a scream. Her dream was turning dark. Her mind couldn't process it. Maggots? Why would there be maggots in their bathroom cabinet on their wedding night? Her first thought was that it was some kind of horrible prank, but that made no sense. Then, a chilling realization washed over her as she heard the shower running. David's strange insistence on showering first, his comment about feeling unclean. The pieces started to click into place in the most horrifying way imaginable. A cold dread seeped into her bones, a feeling so terrifying it paralyzed her. This wasn't an accident. This container belonged to someone. It belonged to him. With trembling hands, she forced herself to look closer. Next to the container of maggots was a small medical kit with bandages and antiseptic wipes. It was then that the full, grotesque truth revealed itself. David wasn't just storing them, he was using them. The preacher, the man of God, her husband, was using maggots on his own body for some unspeakable purpose. The image of his perfect, smiling face flashed in her mind, now twisted into something monstrous. The love she felt just moments before curdled into pure, unadulterated horror. The man she had married was not who he said he was. He was a stranger with a dark, repulsive secret. When David walked out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel and smiling, he found Sarah standing frozen in the middle of the bedroom. The look on her face was not one of newlywed joy, but of stark terror. Her skin was pale, her eyes wide with a horror he couldn't immediately understand. "What's wrong, my love?" he asked, his smile faltering. Sarah couldn't speak. She could only point a trembling finger toward the bathroom. His eyes followed her gesture, and the moment he realized what she had found, his entire demeanor changed. The mask of the charming preacher fell away, and for the first time, Sarah saw the man underneath. It was a man filled with shame and, honestly, a flicker of anger. He tried to explain. He told her it was a medical condition, a rare disorder that required him to use maggot debridement therapy to clean non-healing wounds on his body that he kept hidden. He claimed it was something he was deeply ashamed of, something he was going to tell her about eventually, when the time was right. But his words sounded hollow, rehearsed. The trust between them had been irrevocably shattered. It wasn't just the maggots, it was the monumental deception. He had let her walk down the aisle, say her vows, and commit her life to him, all while hiding a secret so fundamental to who he was. He had built their entire relationship on a foundation of lies. Sarah spent the rest of the night on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, feeling a cold she had never known before. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the writhing mass in the container. She felt a profound sense of violation and betrayal. This man had held her, kissed her and promised to honor her, all while knowing his body was a source of decay he was hiding from her. How could she ever touch him again? How could she ever look at him without seeing that repulsive secret? The love and adoration she had felt for him had evaporated, replaced by a mixture of pity and disgust. She knew with a certainty that chilled her to the core that she could not stay. As dawn broke, casting a grey light into the living room, Sarah's mind was made up. There would be no second chances, no therapy, no trying to work through this. Some secrets are too dark to overcome. She looked at the wedding photos on her phone, images of a happy, smiling couple who were, in reality, complete strangers. She had married an idea, a carefully constructed facade. Staying would mean accepting a life of deception, of constantly wondering what other secrets he was keeping. It would mean sacrificing her own sense of self-worth to maintain the illusion of a perfect marriage. She deserved more than that. She deserved honesty. She deserved the truth. The next morning, less than 24 hours after she had said "I do," Sarah called her parents and told them she was leaving her husband. The shock on the other end of the line was palpable. Her mother begged her to reconsider, to not throw away her marriage over a misunderstanding. When Sarah finally explained the reason, there was just stunned silence. Her family was horrified, but they were also caught between their daughter's pain and the public shame this would bring upon them. David's family, when they found out, were defensive. They accused Sarah of being cruel and unforgiving, of abandoning their son in his time of need. The battle lines were drawn, and Sarah found herself standing almost completely alone. The news of the 24-hour marriage and subsequent divorce spread through the small town like wildfire. The congregation was divided. Some whispered that Sarah was a gold digger who had gotten cold feet, while others pitied the poor preacher whose new wife had abandoned him so cruelly. David played the part of the heartbroken victim perfectly. He gave emotional sermons about forgiveness and human frailty, never revealing the true reason for the split. Sarah became a pariah in the town that had once celebrated her. She endured the stares, the whispers, and the judgment. But through it all, she held on to the one thing she had left, her integrity. She knew she had made the right choice for herself. This experience taught Sarah a lesson that no book or sermon ever could. It taught her about the critical importance of trust as the bedrock of any relationship. A partnership cannot survive on secrets, especially not ones that fundamentally alter who a person is. It also taught her to pay attention to the small red flags. Looking back, she saw the signs: David's obsession with perfection, his discomfort with true intimacy, his carefully managed public persona. She had been so caught up in the fairy tale that she had refused to see the cracks in the facade. Now she knew that true love doesn't require you to ignore your intuition. It encourages you to be fully aware. Sarah's story is a powerful testament to the courage it takes to walk away. It is incredibly difficult to dismantle a life you have just begun to build, especially when everyone is watching. But her journey shows us that your self-worth is non-negotiable. You don't have to settle for a life that feels wrong in your soul, no matter how perfect it looks on the outside. Sarah eventually moved away, started over, and found a quiet peace she never would have known.